This is Gail. Welcome to my Alaska Travel Trivia Livestream Part 2. Y'all asked for this, and I am happy to do this live stream trivia. I love Alaska, and it is probably my favorite state. So I'm happy to bring you the trivia questions. This is a place that I have been to. I have researched the trivia questions and I've got some answers. I think you're going to like it. So just sit back and relax and get ready to have some fun. Now, the picture behind me that you see was taken, it's part of the Gulf of Alaska. And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But if you have not been here before, I invite you to subscribe and give me a like on the live stream once you get to the point where you like it. And please share it because that's how we grow. We tell other people. So I'm using the green screen for the first time on Streamlabs. Let me know what you think of that. And we got 2 in the chat. Keeping myself well is in. So hi, Lori. And we have Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man the Hero, in also. Peter says Tuesdays, LOL. Yes, this is Tuesday, right? The day after Labor Day? Yeah, Tuesday. Got it. Snowing outside there. It is. It is. Right here on the green screen, it's snowing. However, not really, not where I am. It's probably snowing somewhere though, right? Kind of like it's probably 5 o'clock. Is that what they say? Okay, keeping myself well says she likes the green screen. Awesome. So I'm still trying to get used to it. So bear with me. I'm hoping, I don't know. I started to say I'm hoping to be able to share some other pictures, but I don't know how this is going to work. So we're going to try it. Because somebody left me a message and I deleted it because they also said some things I didn't like. And it was like, oh, yeah, have you really been to these places? Yeah, prove it. You know, just like that. So hopefully some of these pictures will do just that. We'll see. Sometimes you just can't please anybody, right? But this was taken at the Gulf of Alaska near Alyeska Ski Resort. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous place. And this picture, just so you know, it was indeed taken in the winter. It does not look like this during the summer. During the summer, it looks more like that. And there's my former van, right? Where do I point? There it is. My former van right there. Little stretched out, but that's okay. So this is also the Gulf of Alaska. It's one of my favorite photos, actually. You guys can see that. It's just, the Gulf of Alaska is just beautiful. This also was taken in the winter. I'm just going to disappear myself so you can see it. It was taken in the winter. And what you see right there, there's an edge of ice and water that's coming in. And that's actually what they call a bore tide, B-O-R-E. And that's one of the few places, and the only place actually in the U.S. where you can see a bore tide. And that is when you actually see this roll of tide coming in. It's really, really cool. And of course, this time it was partially frozen because it was in February. February of 2020. Actually, that was the only thing good, I think, in my life that happened in 2020. Y'all know what that was like, right? You know, all too well. Let me pull up the chat again. Keep the picture clean, LOL. Yep, I was a ghost. Sure was. Sure was. Well, okay, so this is number 2. And I've got a couple of new questions backing up to some older ones. So here we go. That's beautiful. Yeah. Alaska is amazing. Absolutely. It's my favorite road trip. Driving to Alaska, definitely my favorite road trip. It's a long road trip. And it's made longer because things always happen on this road trip. that you don't expect. It can get totally out of hand, totally crazy, but it's worth it. It is worth every mile. So one day somebody asked me how I could afford to drive to Alaska. And I always do it as part of a mission trip. So what I hope to do is later this month talk about some of the more nuts and bolts out of what kind of expenses to expect and how to budget and plan for that. I hope that'll be interesting. That's what we're going to try for. So, all right, let's hit some trivia here. I've got 3 people here. Dive on in. The third person, just dive on in whenever you're ready here in the chat with Keeping Myself Well and Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man the Hero. Okay, so what is the largest island in Alaska? And it is the second largest island in the U.S. Largest island in Alaska. For those of you who are not familiar, Alaska has the chain of the Aleutian Islands. I'm going to see if I can pull up something on that. It is not, I don't have a picture of that because I've not been to the Aleutian Islands yet. It is on my list of places that I want to go. But if you've seen like the show Deadliest Catch, then you've seen some of the Aleutian Islands because Deadliest Catch is, of course, filmed right there on some of the Aleutian Islands. So let me see if I can share this screen. I don't know if it'll let me with the green screen or not, but I'm going to give it a whirl. And this is a map which shows the chain of the Aleutian Islands. Unfortunately, part of this was actually occupied during World War II. We were occupied by the Japanese on 2 of the Aleutian Islands. I can't think right now what the name actually was of the 2 islands. You all can look it up. But it was really important for us to keep control of the islands because, and I did not realize this until I drove to Alaska, but if we didn't keep control of the Aleutians, it opened up the entire West Coast for potential bad things to happen with the Japanese. So that's why it was really, really important that we hold that. Peter Parker is saying that I need to win the lottery, the 1.3 billion. Yeah, I do. That would be the coolest thing. I think I know what I would do with part of it. I think I would go to some small, economically depressed town, whether that would be in the U.S. or Alaska or whatever. I'd like to go to some small, economically depressed area and say, what can I do to help you boost your standard of living? Is it education? Is it scholarships? Is it developing tourism? Is it trying to develop a factory and sell some products? Or what would it take? I just think that would be really cool. And I would use part of it to upgrade my equipment and go to Alaska again. I'd probably swing by and pick up Lori on the way. I think she'd travel with me. Yeah, 2 ladies in the van. We ought to be able to handle this. Okay, so what is the largest island in Alaska? That would be the Kodiak Island. And Kodiak is also famous for bears and a Coast Guard station. So yeah, and the source for that is kodiak.ak.us. So that's what the source for that is. Okay, Alaska is the 49th state. When did it become the 49th state? Was it 1949, 1959, or 1969? So 49, 59, or 69. When was it? I'm going to type it in. There we go. 49, 59, or 69? Put that up here. Well, it is 1959. And that is according to the EisenhowerLibrary.gov. 1959 is when it became a state. If you can remember that it's the 49th state and add 10. So 59. All right. So the Harding ice field is a field of glaciers, and I don't think I have any photos. In fact, I know I don't. But here's one of the ones there. You can do the Harding Ice Field Trail, which is supposed to be really amazing. And I'm going to show you a screen on this one because I think you all are going to love it. Love it, love it, love it. Come on, share. Yeah, there we go. Share screen, Harding Ice Field Trail. Ta-da! And I don't know if you can see, but there is a person actually standing. It would be my left. So there's a person standing there, and that's just how immense everything is. So, which national park protects the Harding ice field and its mini glaciers? Which one protects it? Is it Kodiak? Is it Kenai? Kenai Fjords National Park? Which one of those two? Kodiak National Park, Kenai Fjords National Park. Hey, Grandma Lynn is here. Hi, Grandma Lynn. How are you doing? Welcome. I'm doing this second half of the trivia. And the answer, according to the National Park Service, it is Kenai Fjords National Park. Yes, Lori, you got it. You got it. Kenai Fjords National Park. And they actually have, if you ever go to Alaska, when you go south of Anchorage, go to Seward, which is also mile 0 of the National Iditarod Historic Trail. And that is where the National Park office is for Kenai Fjords. And it's a fun little place. The whole area is just amazing. But that's where it is, and there's plenty of parking there. There's a little shopping center kind of thing all around it. Really good Chinese restaurant there in the area. It's within walking distance. So yeah, check it out. Check it out. And for those of you who saw this the other day on the first part of the live stream, if you are looking into whale watching, this is where you catch the tour. And this, of course, being those humpback whales. I just love this photo. I'll be honest with you. Love it, love it, love it. You do have to watch out, though, while you're on the boat. It may take, a little bit of time to get used to walking on the boat. So you may have to go up to one of the upper levels where you can really feel the salt, the wind, the air. Just an incredible experience. I always, always, always encourage you to go whale watching because it's just freaking amazing. All right. Here's another one it's gonna probably surprise you. It stumps a lot of people. So if you get it wrong, don't worry. It's okay. Does Alaska have a rainforest? Yes or no? Yes or no? A rainforest in Alaska. Is that true or not? Do they have a rainforest? I can't wait to see what y'all think. Yes, we do. They do. They do. Tongass National. I'm drawing forest. Yep, making sure I spelled that right. Tongass National Forest is a temperate rain forest. So if you go to Alaska, take your umbrella because you may just want it. It's at 17 million acres. It's also the national forest in the U.S. and it covers most of Southwest Alaska. So, and it's a temperate rainforest. Obviously, it rains often, and the people in Alaska don't let it bother them. They just kind of ignore it. So when we were doing, oh gosh, what year was it? I think it was 2015, I think it was. We went up to do a vacation Bible school, and it rained like most every afternoon. And we were like, oh gosh, we have to keep the kids inside. You know, we don't want them to get wet. And the pastor was like, these are Alaska kids. They go out and play in everything. And I'm like, no, because their parents are going to be really upset. And he's like, no, they won't. So that day, we didn't keep them inside. We asked the parents as they were coming to pick up their kids, like, you know, if it rains later in the week, should we keep them inside or let them go out and play? And they were all like, let them out, let them play. So it seemed a little counterintuitive. And in the back of my head, I could hear my grandma saying, you're going to get a cold and you're going to get pneumonia, right? Or at least I don't think I'm the only one whose mom or Nona said that. So when we were letting the kids go out and play in Alaska, I had all that back in the back of my mind. But they had a great time, and the parents were the ones that were like, let them go, let them go. So we did. It was just, whew, very counterintuitive. Very counterintuitive, just saying. So, okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, I can't figure out how to get back where I need to. Oh well. Can you drive to Alaska? I have just answered this, and if you have followed my channel, then you already know. But I get asked this all the time when people find out that I've been to Alaska. And that is, can you drive to Alaska? I hope you all come up with the right answer. And this is another yes or no. I really hope you can come up with the right one. And Lori is quick on the draw tonight. She is right. Yes, you can drive to Alaska. But yeah, people respond like so differently about that because I get asked, you know, like, how do you drive to Alaska? Or I've had people argue with me telling me that you can't drive to Alaska and we're going to go, you know, we always go this back and forth. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, yes, no, yes. And then I'll whip out my phone and I'll say, you know, like, here I am. And like one guy in particular, he was like, but that doesn't mean you drove to Alaska. You could have taken that picture anywhere. I bit my tongue. I didn't even argue. I just, you know, sometimes it's better just to walk away. And that was one of those moments. So, but if you're wondering, the answer is yes, indeed. You can, as a matter of fact, drive to Alaska. There you go. And the other thing I get asked is, Do you have to have a passport to go to Alaska? The answer is no, unless you are driving, in which case you do need a passport to go to Alaska, but not only if you're going to go through Canada. You know, if you're going to fly and go from here to Alaska, no, you don't need a passport. And I know that sounds really, really weird that people would even ask, but it's one of the most common questions that I get asked, and I don't know, I don't understand it, but I guess some people don't know their geography. I don't know. But anyway, I just think it's odd. But no, if you've ever wondered, if you're listening to this later and you've ever wondered, can you drive? Yes. If you ever wondered if you need a passport, no, you don't. So, 2 answers there that everybody should know, right? So what can I say? Does that surprise any of you all that somebody would ask that? I just have to know. You know, from your own thoughts, does it surprise you that somebody would ask either one of those? Let me know. Drop that in the chat. I'm really interested. So I even have it on my phone. I'm going to share this one with you too. Don't worry, we are going to get back to the trivia. I promise. Let me just share this. This is the GPS on my phone saying welcome to the United States of America. And the other little word there off to the side says Yukon. And that is where I've just driven, crossing from Yukon into the USA. Hopefully, if you are a doubting Thomas, hopefully this will help you see that you can indeed drive to Alaska. Okay. All right, here we go. And Lori says, I forgot you can go through Canada. I was thinking more of taking the ferry. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. A lot of people pick up the ferry in Seattle. I have just not found it cost effective. I found it actually to be cheaper if I was going to drive, to just go ahead and drive to Alaska rather than pay the ferry fees for myself and for the van, because I'm pulling a trailer. And so that adds to the length, and they charge for every inch. So, yeah. But that's just for me. If I was going by myself and I was in a car, I probably would be more interested in taking the ferry. Or if I was going off season, but I'm always going at peak season. So all the prices, as you all know, they go up in peak season. So yeah, but if you ever do, take lots of photos and take lots of videos because I want to see them. Okay. And how long does it take to drive to Alaska? Is it 20 days, 10 days, or 5 days? 20 days, 10 days, or 5 days? On average. This is on average. I can't wait to hear you all's responses because this is on average 5 days. You can drive to Alaska in 5 days. Indeed. Yes, you can. I'm coming from like either Tennessee or Virginia. This last time I drove from Virginia, and going this long and crazy route took me about 11 days. But that was going from here to New Mexico and in through Montana. If I was driving from Tennessee on up into through Fargo and going up to Pembina, North Dakota, then I'm looking at about 5 days. So from here, it's 72 hours of driving time. So part of it also depends on how long you can handle being in the car. You know, if you are a person who only likes to travel, 6 or 7 hours in the car, then of course it's going to take you a lot longer. It always takes me longer than average just because things go wrong. You follow my channel, I always have something go wrong, whatever trip I'm going on, and that always adds time. Okay. There is a pipeline in Alaska, and yes, I took this on the Alaska Highway, this photo. This is about as dark as it gets in the part of Alaska where I am usually going, rather, which is around Willow. So this is dark. This is as dark as it gets in the summer, but I just love this photo. It's not the clearest, sharpest photo, but the colors and all are just gorgeous. So that's why I wanted to share it. Leave that up. But if you go far enough, as we all know, the sun doesn't set. And going from Prudhoe in North Alaska down to Valdez in the southern part of Alaska is a pipeline. Da-da-da. And we are all familiar with it. But there is more than one name for this pipeline. So I'm going to type it in, and I want you to tell me which one it is, or if this is a trick question. So here we go. Is it the Alyeska Pipeline, Trans-Alaska Pipeline, or, I can't spell Alaska, wait a minute, or the Alaska Pipeline? Which one is it, or is this a trick question? And we are talking about that famous pipeline in Alaska. Trans-Alaska works. What else? Is there another name in there that works? Okay, I'll just go ahead and tell you. They're all right. This is a trick question. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline, the Alaska Pipeline, and the Alyeska Pipeline are different names for the same pipeline. And the Alyeska, as I understand it, the Alyeska Corporation runs and manages the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, which is shortened to the Alaska Pipeline, depending on who you talk to. Just know that it's the same pipeline, okay? And there are actually places that you can actually get out and touch the pipeline. And that's really a cool experience. I know for some people, you're working up there and they touch it all the time. But if you are from the contiguous 48 and you have just gone up there, it is the coolest thing. So you can actually get out of your car and go touch it. So while we're talking about the Alaska Pipeline, here's another question for you. How long is the pipeline? Is it 800 miles, 1,000 miles, or 1,200 miles? 800, 1,000, or 1,200? Which one do y'all think it is? I will tell you it is long, because we are talking about going from Prudhoe all the way down to Valdez. So which one do you think it is? Okay, keeping myself as saying 1,200. Anybody else want to guess? Anybody else? Okay, well, I will tell you, it is actually 800 miles. 800 miles, which I know it seems like it should be 12, but it's not. It's 800 miles, and it passes through so much different terrain. It is crazy. So this map says it's 789 miles. 800 is what they usually say. And it crosses, get this, it crosses 3 mountain ranges. It also crosses 70 rivers and streams and has 12 pumping stations. This says it had 21 construction camps and was 3 years in construction. I would believe that. I would believe that. And so there's a map, and here's something else, another little tidbit that you can stump people on. And I almost put this in as a trivia question and took it off. But that is, does the Alaska pipeline, the Trans-Alaska pipeline, does that go to Anchorage? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It actually goes east of Anchorage and misses Anchorage completely. It goes through, of course, Prudhoe, and then it goes down to Fairbanks. And that is where you can actually get out and touch the pipeline. There's a place there in Fairbanks. But it comes on pretty much straight down and goes to the town of Valdez. So if you are trying to get to Anchorage and you take the wrong turn, you may find that. You may find that town. But otherwise, yeah, my recommendation is to get out and just drive to Fairbanks and touch it. Now, to the north, also where Prudhoe Bay is, this is going to lead us into another trivia question. And that is, what oceans border Alaska? What oceans border Alaska? And I'm not going to toss out, I'm not going to any kind of, hints on this one. You're going to have to guess it. You're just going to have to guess it. Because I feel like you can do this. I really do. I feel like you can do this. So, what oceans border Alaska? Pacific and Indian. Oh, so close, so close. You got half of it right. You're gonna pinch yourself in just a minute. It is the Pacific and the Arctic Oceans. Pacific and Arctic. Now, there's also some seas that border Alaska. And you can just tell me the name of just one of them. There's 3. There's 3. I'm going to go ahead and type them in. Keeping myself is going, yep, yeah. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and type them in so you can see. Most people will get the Bering Sea, not everyone. I was really surprised to find out that Beaufort up there is a sea, because in my neck of the woods, if you say Beaufort, everybody's talking about South Carolina, not Alaska. But those are the 3 seas that border Alaska. Yep, Bering. There you go. So that brings us to our next and final question. There is a famous show about Alaska crab fishermen or fisherwomen. What's the name of that show? It's been on for years and years and years. Yes, Lori nailed it. Deadliest Catch. Deadliest Catch. And that the sea that is most often mentioned in Deadliest Catch is the Bering Sea. And I've got to tell you, one of the neatest experiences in my road trip life was when we went to Homer, Alaska. And Homer Spit is this little part of Alaska, still on the mainland, but it juts out into the water. And you get it by going south of Anchorage, and you just kind of keep on going. And you can stand at the very point of it, and there is a motel, and it's called Land's End. And if you stand there at the end of the parking lot, there is a sign that tells you that the waters that you're looking at dump into the Pacific Ocean, the Gulf of Alaska, and the Bering Sea. So that is where all the water in front of you is going. And it's just kind of a neat thing, I think, to be able to stand there and see that. Because I don't know about you all, but I will never be on the Bering Sea. That for me is just not happening. But I don't see it happening anyway. I guess in theory it could. But, just to stand there in that spot is just kind of cool. And if you're going to stand there in that spot and you're going to be in Homer, as you go down to the very, very tip of the spit, right there to your left is a little inlet where people commonly go fishing. If you were there in season, I was there in late July, early August one year, and you could actually see the salmon jumping up out of the water. And it was another really one of those really cool experiences, because I'm not talking about like a random fish here and a random fish there. It was like they were all jumping. I bet you we were seeing 3 and 4 a minute, easy. It's almost like watching a meteor shower, except it's fish jumping. It was just so cool. And of course, if you want to get an Alaska license, you can go fishing. But we just wanted to watch and do our fishing with a camera. It was just a lot of fun. It was hard as heck to get a picture of a fish jumping, because you're standing there, or at least I was standing there and hitting that shutter speed button on my SLR and trying to set it to sport and doing everything I could to try to get these fish pictures. And of all the ones I took, they're all super blurry and you can't really tell a thing. But I tried. So if you go to the end of the spit, see the Land's End, see the fish jumping. There are tons of campgrounds. If you like camping, take a tent. There are tons and tons of campgrounds down there. There is a kind of a ship graveyard of broken boats and sea vessels that you can get out and you can walk around and look at those. Tons of shops, tons and tons. There's several restaurants down there, just tons of really neat things down there to do. So, but it's Alaska. It's not going to get boring. Not possible. Oh gosh, my chair is creaking. I'm going to have to get some WD-40, I think. So yeah, it's just there's nothing bad I can say about Alaska. Even when it snows, it's still a really neat experience. Um, my daughter, when we went up in that February, we were trying to see the northern lights. But of course, this is me. So what does it do? It snows phenomenally. It snows. And we should have known. We should have known. But there is a huge pile of snow. I'm looking for it to see if I can share the photo. And my daughter, it's where the snowplows have kind of piled it up. And my daughter is standing in front of this pile of snow, and her arms are outstretched, sticking up in the air. I got to show you this. Now, this is not Stellar Piper. This is my other daughter. So she is on the ground. The snow is piled up behind her. And there she is. She's having the time of her life. But of course, this is winter, so it does get dark at night. Take your flashlight. Or buy one there. Walmart will be glad to sell you one. So that's her in front of the snow. Now, most of the snow is not that tall. That is where the snow plows piled it up. So don't panic on that. When we were there, the snow was not that bad comparatively, and it was starting to melt some. It was 40 degrees when we were up there. It was actually colder when I left home than it was when I went to Alaska. So when people asked me how the trip was when I got back, I was like, the weather was better there than it was here. But this is the amount of snow that they had at the time that we were there. So think about 12, 14 inches maybe. This is a relatively small information station, but on top of that, it's probably about 12, 14 inches of snow. We didn't get out to measure it because mean old mom didn't want her to. And of course, you see wildlife, and this is at the Conservation Center, Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, which is on the Kenai. And I strongly suggest everybody go and see it, because this is where they have got a lot of wildlife that they're trying to rehabilitate. And so they've got moose, they've got caribou, they have got grizzly bears, bald eagles, wolves. It's the best place to see them. And you're providing funding to this nonprofit so that they can, try to rehabilitate these animals. Hopefully, and it's the wolves there in Alaska, and they look big and fluffy because this is their winter coats, and they were having a great time. It was so cool because they would interact with each other. And there is one part, and I didn't get it, but the wolves were actually pouncing in the snow and kind of playing in the snow, and it really reminded me of my husky and his behavior. But I wasn't able to catch that because that's what caught my attention, that they were there. And here's another picture that you all might like. This is caribou, aka reindeer. And so if these animals are domesticated, they're called reindeer. If they are wild, they're called caribou. So that's the difference. And you can go up. There is North Pole, Alaska, and you can also see the reindeer up there, and they legitimately are called reindeer. but they're up there, which is really neat. So if you guys have any questions about going to Alaska, let me know. I am going to do the live stream a little later on the costs and how we did the fundraising and how I got there. Going as part of a mission team, honestly, is really not as bad as you would think, because some of your expenses are built into the mission trip experience. If you're going to go and you're going to get hotels, that's pretty much the most expensive way to do it. So we'll talk about that and some of the differences and fundraising and things like that. So, all right. So thank you all for coming out. Lori, thanks for your feedback on the green screen. I appreciate that. This is, like I said, the first time that I've used the green screen. And I actually kind of like being able to disappear completely. So, anyhow, it's only going to get better from here, folks, right? Okay. Well, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to give me a like on the live stream. That is so important. And make sure you follow me for more travel, lifestyle, and service dog adventures. And yes, I did take Pipsy. We did go to Alaska together. So if you're thinking about going to Alaska and wondering, can you take your dog to Alaska? The answer is yes. You just got to go through whatever the current rules are about taking the dog into the other country. But absolutely, you can take your dog to Alaska. Just make sure you follow the rules really quick if you're going to drive and you're going to go across Canada, okay? All right. Well, thank you again. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed hanging out with you all and sharing about it. Like I said earlier, this is my favorite state. So, hey, Grace, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. Yay! I appreciate that. So, all right, you all, you have a great night and have a great day tomorrow. I'll be back Sunday night live streaming, 7:30 Eastern time, Sunday night. Good night, you all.